Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
J-Lo's ex-husband claims that J-Lo sacrificed chickens for Santeria rituals. Oh, Johnny Noah married Lopez in February of 1997. When they were desperate to save their marriage, he visited an LA home of a Santeria guru with J-Lo. This is what he was saying. Noah said, quote, "We participated together in sacrifices of chickens and hens, and in one occasion, I was present when they were cleansing Jennifer with the hen. The hen's was poured over Jennifer until she was covered in it," Noah said. "Then she was bathed in holy water to wash away and herbs were passed over her body. Meanwhile, the godmother was asking the gods to cleanse Jennifer and save our marriage," he said. Noah testified that Lopez, quote, "was doing voodoo when we weren't married. She was doing bad things to a lot of people when we were friends. And I knew all this time because we did personally, me and her, to this particular lady." Noah added that Lopez did voodoo and, quote, "all this religious bull," unquote, to former lovers, including Sean Puffy Combs. She's been accused of doing voodoo on her ex-boyfriends, dude. Ben Affleck, Sean Diddy Combs, this Ojani guy.
It would make sense because they all look drained and miserable, like they've had the life sucked out of them.
That's probably just a consequence of dating someone like Jennifer Lopez. I don't believe in all that voodoo stuff, but I know a lot of people do. I've worked with some people from the Congo who swear it's real. That's disgusting to know that people actually look up to this woman and she's out here potentially doing stuff like this.
What's really going on at the Vatican this week? Because if you're like me, you've seen some wild conspiracies with this event going on right now. They're currently opening these holy doors and some people saying portals, and given the Vatican's history, you know, like the audience hall being shaped like a serpent, and just the history in general of this place, the event taking place right now is very significant. So the Pope is opening 5 holy doors, each on different days, and some reputable sources are actually calling them portals just because of the spiritual significance that they carry. The thing is, this only happens every 25 years, marking what's called the Year of Jubilee. But this year is different. For the first time in history, a 5th door is being opened, and this is what really is causing the pot to stir. So these are the names and dates of each door that is being opened, and the one that's never been opened before is the second one, the prison in Rome, and by the time I'm making this video, it already happened. But the holy doors represent a spiritual passage and commitment to follow Jesus, and they're going to remain open throughout the year. Pilgrims from around the world will visit Rome to pass through these doors as a symbol of renewal and grace. This ritual in general just gives some people an eerie feeling, and there's a lot of conspiracies going around. Some people think these doors are more than just doors, maybe gateways, but I'm curious to know what you guys think about this.
I've been hearing talks about this, but not really any theories on what it means. I know we have some eagle-eyed viewers who really keep an eye on what's going on at the Vatican. Can someone tell me what significance this has? Everyone keeps talking about this like it's a bad thing, but I haven't heard any explanations as to why. Hey, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com.
There are things we're not supposed to remember. Hidden in the cracks between myth and history, they sit, silent. It starts with gold, raw, ancient, pulled from the earth like blood from a vein, and shaped into a box that no one was meant to open. They called it the Ark of the Covenant. But what if it was more than that? What if it wasn't God inside that box? What if it was something else entirely? Something they couldn't explain. Something they feared so much they dressed it up in divine mystery to hide the truth. The kind of truth that could crack open reality itself. Could the Ark have been a weapon? A machine built with knowledge we were never meant to have? A device so powerful, so alien, it had to be hidden behind a curtain of myth. Look closely at the ancient texts. Beneath the poetic language and sacred reverence, there are hints of something far more tangible. The Ark didn't just inspire, it annihilated. It altered the course of history not through divine will, but through something that even now we can't fully explain. Something that radiated energy. Something powerful enough to reshape the very fabric of reality itself. When the Israelites carried the Ark, they carried something beyond their wildest imagination. And as they moved it from place to place, the Ark acted as both protector and destroyer. Cities crumbled before it. When Solomon's temple fell, so too did the Ark disappear from the pages of history. It's said to be lost, perhaps hidden away by those who understood its true nature. Maybe it lies in Ethiopia, guarded by monks who believe it to be sacred. Or perhaps it's buried beneath the sands of Jerusalem, deeper than anyone has dared to dig.
I think the Ark was something radioactive. Based on the description of what the Bible says would happen to you if you touched it, it sounds like radiation poisoning. I'm not sure what I think happened to it though. It was last mentioned in the Bible in 2 Chronicles as being part of Josiah's reign in 622 BC. That's a long time for it to be off anybody's radar. I just feel like if it hadn't been destroyed, we'd have likely found it by now. So maybe it was a weapon and it got used, causing its own destruction.
In the early hours of Christmas morning in London, a car has mounted the pavement, hitting 4 people outside a nightclub, with one of them now fighting for their life. Why is this not headline news? Now, this is where things get weird. The police have said that they have arrested and charged a 31-year-old man with attempted murder. They also say that this is an isolated incident and not terror-related. However, they've arrested the man, but they've not named him. There's also very little information out there about this incident, despite it happening in London. There's no photos or images or footage or videos of the incident. There's no pictures of the crime scene, the suspect, or the car. There's absolutely nothing. Police also saying that they're trying to figure out and establish the motives behind this, but they've already ruled out terrorism. How many times have we heard that before? This is where the incident took place. I'm sure many people will recognise this street in London, Shaftesbury Avenue. I'm sure you agree, because I believe that mounting the pavement with a car and hitting people is a very terror-related kind of way of going about your business. Sure, there's a much better way to word that, but my brain's not working today.
I think we all know why they aren't releasing any information about the driver. He's likely someone who would harm their narrative on immigration if his name got out. I'm just speculating, of course, but every time we see something like this, where they keep all the details under wrap and tell everybody not to make any assumptions, it almost always plays out the same way. I'm just saying, if that guy turns out to be a refugee, I don't think it's gonna shock anyone.
Do you know who this is?
Vampire, I don't know.
So he has wings and there's a chain on his ankle and he has a crown. Obviously, Lucifer,
yeah.
Satan.
I saw the chain. I was like, yeah.
Right? Now check this out. What foot is this? I know you've seen this statue before.
Is that the one in?
There's a chain and a foot. That's the foot of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh,
yeah.
I heard about this.
Now this statue, there's 7 points on his
I
crown,
didn't
right?
see this.
Statue of Liberty has 7 points on its crown.
No.
Now go back to the statue. What's by its feet? An apple. Where is the Statue of Liberty? The Big Apple. New York City. What do they call New York City? The Big Apple, fam. Why are they praising the Statue of Liberty, which is literally Lucifer? You know why it's holding a torch?
Why?
Because Lucifer was the angel of light before.
Yeah.
It's right in front of us too.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
But where's the most money made? Wall Street.
Oh, Wall Street.
Where's that? It's the Big Apple, fam.
And New York is the home of.
Take it a step further. Ready?
Yeah.
Ready? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Ready? Where did that happen in New York? The healthcare thing. No, that's a stretch. But
They are connecting a lot of dots that don't go together. But the chain on the ankle of the Statue of Liberty, that's probably common knowledge to most of y'all. But that's new info to me. I've just never seen it. According to Google, that chain around the ankle of the Statue of Liberty is supposed to represent the end of slavery and oppression, and America's values of freedom, equity, and the pursuit of happiness. It sure looks highly suspicious, though, considering how many other aspects of that statue seem to represent Lucifer.
San Francisco now has a weight stigma czar. The San Francisco Department of Public Health hired a fat positivity expert to tackle weight stigma.
Hi, my name is Virgie Tovar and I'm the author of You Have the Right to Remain Fat, as well as a few other books on fat positivity and body acceptance.
San Francisco hires a fat positivity expert. Because when you're facing a crisis of addiction, homelessness, and skyrocketing crime, the first thing you do is hire someone to help people feel good about their body mass index. The fentanyl crisis rages on, but at least now overdose victims can die knowing they're body-positive corpses. While the homeless are begging for food, the city's focus is on making sure their pant size doesn't offend anyone. So, in San Francisco, the sidewalks are covered in needles and feces. But hey, at least you're not stepping on a scale.
Seeing stuff like this really makes me feel like our society is broken. I don't want to be black-pilled, and I sure don't want to do that to anyone who's watching. But how did we get to this point? Nobody uses logic and reasoning anymore. And if you do, you're a part of the problem? I can't help but see it like this. That girl knows she's lying to herself and everyone around her. She's making the decision to live in a delusion. And everyone around her has made the decision to share in that delusion to keep from hurting her feelings. And it could potentially cost her her life. That's crazy.
I'm addicted.
I've heard that there were studies showing this before, but 40 out of 43 mice is crazy. And I wouldn't be surprised if the food industry was aware of this for decades before the study or anything like it got released to the public. I'm really fortunate in this regard in that I just don't have much of a sweet tooth. I just personally prefer more savory foods. I do know people who can't lay off the treats though. I know it could be a real problem for some people. They need to start taking some of this stuff out of our foods and using healthier sweeteners, but we all know that ain't gonna happen.
Has anyone been feeling like something really big is about to happen in our world? Well, if you have, you're not alone. Multiple people have come forward stating that they feel like something really big is going to happen in the future in a positive way. Alongside this feeling, they've also stated that they've been feeling more calm, more at peace, kinder, and they've noticed this from others as well. Now, I really believe this has something to do with the scripture. In Joel chapter 2, verse 28, it talks about how the Lord will pour out his spirit on the world at the end of days. And as we get closer to that time and see biblical prophecies unfolding right before our eyes, God's spirit, which brings joy, peace, and all the things people have been experiencing, will get closer as well. On the contrary, if you've been experiencing very negative emotions or have had a bad year in general, that may be a sign that you're going through spiritual warfare, and now would be a great time going into 2025 to start building your relationship with Christ. Doesn't have to be much. You can simply start by doing small prayers or researching specific Bible verses pertaining to your situation. But I encourage you to begin anywhere whenever you can so that you can experience that peace and joy that others are feeling as well.
What do y'all think about this one? I feel like we could be experiencing this. There certainly seems to be an uptick in people spreading the word of God online. And I've seen so many people in my personal life suddenly out of nowhere find a relationship with Jesus. There's certainly something in the air. It's affecting me as well.
This is what they got locked away in the forbidden secret archives. Something that took 12 world-renowned scientists to successfully record back in the 1950s, who are said to have been part of a classified project that created a device that can look into our past, which all came out in a book called The New Mystery of the Vatican, written in 2002 by Francois Brune, a priest who worked very closely with the Vatican, who was told by his colleague, Father Pellegrino Ernetti, a priest, monk, and exorcist, who was also a scientist, engineer, and lifelong scholar. Quite the decorated man, and a well-educated guy too, like he definitely wasn't a crackpot or anything. While the two were discussing interpretations of the Bible in the 60s, Ernetti claimed that he had seen exactly what happened in the book with his own eyes. Just a decade earlier, he was working on a project deciphering old Gregorian chants from tape recordings, when he seemingly heard the voice of the head priest's deceased father talking through the recorder. Like they tapped into a conversation he had decades ago when he was still alive. Captivated by the idea of capturing sounds from the past, Ernetti got together a group of scientists to work on a new project commissioned by the head priest, among whom was rumored to be Enrico Fermi, the father of the Fermi paradox and the creator of the world's first nuclear reactor, and Werner von Braun, a German aerospace engineer poached by the US who ended up as a key director during the foundation of NASA. Once again, quite well-educated individuals. Together, they worked on a machine called the chronovisor, capable of harnessing electromagnetic sound and light waves emitted from the past, and convert those signals into pictures and audio on a cathode ray monitor that allowed us to view the past on a TV screen. According to this work, light and sound continue to exist as residual energy long after the events that produce those lights and sounds have happened. And if we can somehow capture those waves and rearrange them in the sequence that they happened in, we can literally watch the past. Sounds impossible, right? Well, you actually kind of have your own version of a chronovisor at home that you use every single day. A mirror. When you look into a mirror, you're not actually seeing yourself as you are, but as you were fractions of a millisecond ago, due to the time it takes for the light to bounce off the mirror and into your eyes. When you look at the night sky, it's the same thing. The amount of time it takes for the light emitted by the stars to reach us on Earth means we're looking at them as they were hundreds of thousands, millions of years ago. We are seeing into the past. The chronovisor took this idea, but instead of distance, applied it to the fourth dimensional plane, observing light and sound emitted from a specific place and time. It used a series of special antennas to capture these waves and convert them to audio and video on a screen, a device that can view events from anywhere and any time in history on a TV monitor just by setting a date and location. Not exactly a time machine, but a time viewer, a project that Ernetti had been a part of since 1952. And he himself insisted to Francois Brune that he saw events like speeches by Napoleon and Mussolini, views of ancient Rome, even listened to famous unfinished plays by ancient Roman poets, only fragments of which existed at the time, and Ernetti wrote them out in full, which still exists today. But as religious scholars, what they were really interested in were biblical events like the final days of Jesus, the creation of the 10 Commandments and such. In the book, Ernetti is quoted as saying, "We saw everything, the agony in the garden, the betrayal of Judas, the trial, the crucifixion." But he knew people wouldn't believe him if he just told them about it, so he took pics. In the book, Brune shows the actual photos of Jesus' crucifixion and other historic events that Ernetti snuck photos of from the chronovisor. This one allegedly of Jesus getting crucified, and another one of him talking to his followers, which might actually just be low-resolution photos of this statue and that painting, questioning the legitimacy of these photos, but Brune insists the machine was real. One that could view any place from any point in time, including what you were doing in your room last night, all documented in Francois Brune's book, which even includes schematics of the device itself. Ernetti and his team presented the device to Pope Pius XII in the 50s, who immediately confiscated and dismantled it out of fear of getting into the wrong hands. Clearly, being able to spy on anyone who said anything at any time could be catastrophic if it got out. In 1972, an article even wrote about this device in an Italian magazine called La Domenica del Corriere, which for the record was a real magazine and not a satire paper, with the headline, "A machine that photographs the past has finally been invented," leading some to believe that the chronovisor wasn't destroyed, but was still being used by the church to control the masses. Stashed away deep in the Vatican archives, which not only do you need very special permission to access, but is also protected by armed guards and state-of-the-art security 24/7. Clearly all they have is a bunch of old writings down there, right? Then in 1988, the Vatican strangely passed a decree saying that anyone caught using such a device like the chronovisor would be excommunicated. Kind of a weird thing to say about a machine that was totally fake and just a rumor. Up until Ernetti passed away in 1994, he swore the chronovisor was real. Same with Brune, who along with his books about it also heavily wrote about quantum physics, which could potentially provide further explanations for such technology, until he passed more recently in 2019. Two highly respected, religious, and well-educated men that both insisted on the existence of a device that can peek into time, and that it actually hasn't been decommissioned, but rather hidden from the public and is still in use to this day.
I think we've all heard of this theory before, but I think this is the first explanation of the device that I've heard that actually makes it sound like it could have been a real device. His explanation of how it was supposed to have worked actually kind of makes sense. If we could collect data through light and sound and then navigate through that data to pin down specific events and rewatch them, that sounds like something that at the very least they would have dumped a ton of money into researching in the past.
Pathways underneath that are all connected. It's like if you go to McCormick Place, if you go, they got the little tunnels over there too, because they be flooding over there too.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's connected, you think?
Yeah. So this whole campus, the whole campus is connected. I was told there's tunnels, you know what I'm saying? It's like the tunnels along the lake that you can go down in. Heard that from somebody that he was working for 43 years.
Really?
Been here for 43 years. He been here for 43 years. He retired, I want to say, like last week sometime.
They won't allow access to the public.
Okay.
And then they only allow access to very few of their actual workers here.
I feel like the building was here already.
What do you tell your child when you're coming to a new location and they're asking you questions and you have no answer?
How hard would it be to just make it black and white and then make it look like they're doing some construction right now?
Or you're presenting them like on maybe a TV documentary, let's say, and it's just an image that's going to come and go, and 99.9% of people looking at them are not even going to scratch their head. They're going to just say, well, there it is, there's the construction.
They whitewash the skies, they call it vanilla skies.
They'll blotch out the sky and cut away from what they want to leave in the photo. They can cut away what was there and replace it with a gray or white vanilla colored sky.
Vanilla sky, where the background is cut out and you can see the crop marks, it's like, well, why would they do that? If you see one construction photo that's off, where they've painted in scaffolding, or they've taken out backgrounds, you have to stop. Why did they go to the extent to do this? You have to ask the question. This was an industrial scale. Exquisite masonry buildings were built in 1 or 2 years. These take time. I mean, you put 1 or 2 years just into the planning. Every doorknob, every cornice over a window is celebrated. And this is why the architecture is so beautiful. It's an architecture of celebration.
The outside's incredible, but the inside is built like a palace. There's such a lack of photos from the inside of these buildings, and they're incredible. When you had the Kleksinski building in Chicago that took 14 years, and then you come back and you look at the one before that, the federal building, built in 7 years. How is that possible? They're not gonna be able to bring these things all the way up to the top, get these people that have no training, and actually create this amazing thing that lasts forever. Why are none of our grandparents or great-grandparents ever speaking highly of these buildings? If they were truly built in the early 1900s, do you think one of our grandparents would have been like, yeah, I was at the site and I'm so proud of building that? Or my friend, I knew somebody and he was over there building that building. Not one time. Does that sound odd?
There are a lot of good points being made in that video. The one thing that I can't get over is the vanilla skies. I've never heard a good explanation as to why all the skies are cut out of these old photos. The only explanation I can think of is that they didn't want people to use the sky to determine the correct date and time, so they cut it out.
Tell me what happened.
Today, I was at work in Waterloo, New York. And I get done and I go up to my vehicle in a grocery store parking lot. And I'm messing around in the back, moving Christmas gifts that I have to drop off later today. This woman pulls her car up and she gets out. And she comes up and says, "Merry Christmas." I said, "Merry Christmas to you too." She says, "Here, I want you to take this. This is for you."
What'd she give you?
A Christmas tin and a card, a Christmas card. I'm confused. She says, "This is a gift to you. I want you to have this. No questions asked." I said, "Okay." You know, I take it, and she gets in her car, and she just drove away. So I go into my vehicle, and I open the Christmas card up. It's a Christmas card, Santa Christmas card. All right.
No names?
Nothing, no names. And inside, handwritten, cursive writing, "Merry Christmas." On 12/26 each year, my family starts at Christmas with the hopes of giving it away on the following Christmas Eve. Christmas jar. This started as a way to teach our children that giving is the most important gift. No matter how much it is, we have to give. As our children grew, this tradition has become the highlight of each season. The rules are as follows.
There's rules?
Yes, 3 rules. 1, never count the money. It's not the amount that counts. 2, we cannot know the recipient. And 3, just walk away.
Oh, that's their rules.
That's their rules. God bless them. So I open the jar
Oh my
up,
God.
full of cash.
What?
I didn't know. I mean, I have no idea. A couple hundred, $200? I have no idea.
So what are you supposed to do with it?
I don't know. It doesn't say. But I will say this. Thinking about this for the last hour, I think I'm going to start a Christmas jar and try to keep this as a new tradition for myself. I hope this video finds its way to that kind, wonderful family who left this for me with a kind note. So, Merry Christmas. Hey, how are what good people do.
And that's our good clip of the day. Someone shared that with me in the Discord, and I just thought it was such a good idea that I just had to put it in a video. I think my family may actually start doing something similar to this, but make sure that the money goes towards someone that we know is actually in need. But guys and gals, that's the end of our clips today. I hope you enjoyed these videos we watched together. I'll be back on Monday with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com. And don't forget to drop a photo of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video, like this one. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and a magnificent weekend, and I will see you all on Monday.